Welcome to another episode of the Happy Musicians Podcast, where it's not about getting the gig, it's about enjoying the gig. I'm your host, Tanner Guss, and this week's guest is Jamison Ross. Jamison is an amazing singer and drummer. He's Grammy nominated. He won the 2012 Monk competition. He tours the world with his own group and the jazz collective Snarky Puppy. The guy gets up early to work out. He's a dedicated father and husband, and everywhere he goes, he's just going out of his way to have a positive impact on people. In our conversation, we talk about the importance of knowing what it is that you want from music and what you want out of life. We also discuss the balance between art and entertainment and how to use music as a means to unlock deeper empathy and connection with people. You guys are in for a real treat. Thank you so much for being here, and please welcome Jamison Ross. All right, Jamison Ross, welcome to the Happy Musicians Podcast.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Tanner.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I know we've kind of gotten into it a little bit just casually, like after gigs and stuff, talking about this stuff, and it was honestly just really refreshing to hear that these kind of issues are something that you've thought about and that you understand the importance of. And one thing that you've brought up a lot is that for you it kind of always just comes back to figuring out what it is that you want, right? And I'm hoping you could go into that concept a little bit for everyone.
Yeah, well, yes. I think when it comes to any creative field, we're talking specifically music, being a musician, being an artist, being a creative. Because to me, being a musician is an extension of being a creative. Being an artist, playing the instrument, whatever instrument you play, or singing, or that is an extension of being a creative. You like to create. And so that being said, there is a gauntlet and a huge world and a huge amount of directions you can take, you know what I mean, to figure out how you want to create. And so the most important thing I think that no one ever asked me in my days of studying music and growing up playing music is, what do you want to do? When I went to school for jazz at Florida State University, nobody asked me, what do I want to do? When I auditioned, they didn't ask me what I wanted to do. When I got to grad school, they didn't ask me what I wanted to do. Nobody asked me that. Nobody. And I got 2 degrees. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so I was getting degrees based on my love and my passion for music, for playing the drums, for music in general. For some people in school, they were getting degrees not because of their passion and love. And that's why when you get out of college and you get out of schooling and you get out of all education, you're left with that question: what do you want to do?
Yeah.
For some, they can say, I want to play music, right? Yeah, great. Let's be specific. What music do you want to play? And how does that look to you? So you say you want to play jazz. Okay, so you want to play jazz. So you can play jazz at a local club 3-4 nights a week. But do you want to tour? Do you want to be amongst the elite of music? Move to New York City. You know what I mean? What do you want to do? Like, what, you get specific. The way that you get specific is through experience and really diving deep into the culture of what you're doing at the moment. Nothing I don't think we put our hands to should go of lack. So everything should be an inspired moment. Meaning, if you play drums, or if you play a trumpet, if you play an instrument, whatever you're doing in that moment with music, it can help you in the long run. So you can't take any moment for granted. You know what I mean?
Even like when you're starting out.
Yeah.
Like the gigs I'm doing aren't necessarily the most glamorous, but using those as an opportunity to have more clarity in the direction that you want to go.
Bingo. So sometimes you don't know an answer to the question.
Right.
So the fact that the question has never been asked to me, I don't even know if I could actually answer the question when it was asked to me. But I think it's a question that needs to be present and to be around a lot earlier than it is now for a lot of musicians. A lot of musicians just go with what they've been doing and what they love for a long time, which is, it can be as simple as just playing music or playing drums or just like playing. And so they keep going in that direction before they actually ask themselves that question. So there's no direction.
Yeah. Even if you don't have an answer to that question, if you're trying to answer it, if the question's in mind while you're doing things, I feel like the goal of getting to the place that you have thought about that you want to get to and working towards that is more sustainable and fulfilling than if you don't have a direction. You're just kind of trying to be successful in whatever sense you can, and a lot of times that just turns into like getting by with kind of a random assortment of gigs and stuff, you know? It can make you feel a little lost.
There comes a point in every musician's career where they face what I call a crossroads of actually trying to figure out what it is that they really want to do. And the reason why that point comes is because it's very difficult to be a musician. It's not easy. So if you hear anybody who's not a musician or a creative, for an example, talk about this field, they talk about it like, how do you do that? Like, oh, wow, so how do you make money? I had someone ask my wife's friend, my wife's coworker, my wife's a teacher. And somebody asked my wife's coworker, she said, oh, so like, you know, musicians can make money, they can make a living, like playing music. And my wife's coworker comes to my live show. She came to my CD release and she was like, yeah, Mr. Ross, he makes money, he makes a living, and they're doing pretty fine. He makes a living. Now, granted, you know, not trying to be, you know, I'm pretty successful in my career where my phone is ringing consistently in a lot of different ways. But a lot of people don't think that this is possible. This is a very difficult lifestyle for the outside looking in. That being said, there comes a point in time in your career where, you know, because of the opposition that you face, being stable, having a stability of lifestyle, paying bills, because of all those things, there comes a point in time where you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And you see this happens a lot with some people where they go and get day jobs. They go and get not only day jobs, they actually completely stop playing music because it grows to be too hard, you know?
Right.
It grows to not lend them the kind of results that they want.
Yeah, and some of them haven't actually defined what the result they want is.
Bingo, 100%. That right there, that because it gets hard. That's defining, and I'm actually, man, this is kind of a great moment to talk about this because I'm actually hearing you say this is making me also tie the circles back in. Defining what you want is going to really reveal to you whether you're willing to kind of like suffer through some of the days of being a creative, a musician, a dancer, an actor, a painter, a writer. Oh my God, they have an even more difficult lifestyle. What's funny is the musician lifestyle is the easiest on the totem pole of art. If you look at actors, if you look at like dancers, if you look at freaking writers, creative writers, if you look at freaking painters, man, our lifestyle, we have it way easy.
Yeah.
My point is
that's very true.
It's very true. We have it way easy, bro. These people are like giving their entire lives and they're giving away all of what I call their energy, their mental space and work ethic to something that is not exactly giving them anything tangible back. You see what I'm saying? Something tangible, meaning like, you know, going to school for a degree for years to study something, thinking that you're going to make money doing it.
Yeah.
Like the whole dream of work, you know, gain. Like that whole concept of like when you work for something, you get something in return. Like, yeah, I agree. But in art, sometimes you're going to work for it for a long time before you get anything in return, at least of substance.
Yeah, which I think can be frustrating for a lot of us because I guess like getting paid is kind of our society's way of saying like, how does our society value your time and energy? You know,
this is good.
We value it with this dollar amount. And I think we all are of the mindset that our music adds a lot of value to our society and our culture in general with the change and impact that art can have on people's lives. But then when we get our paycheck or lack of paycheck at the end of the day after that, it's easy just to feel discouraged and feel like because we're not making that much money that what we're doing isn't valued by society, you know? But on the other end of that is also, I think, we forget that even though we're artists, we're also entertainers. And there's a balancing act there of how much you're pleasing your audience, or how much you're focused on making your audience happy and like serving your own wants as an artist. Is that something that you've thought about, and has your perception of where on the spectrum of entertainer to artist you lie, has that changed over the years?
Well, I'll be honest, just to kind of tie in the conversation about society and the dollar amount to our time. The thing about art to me that I've learned is that the real time spent for the modern day musician should be to figure out the reason you figure out what you want to do is so that you can figure out a way to do that without putting a dollar amount to it. So, in other words, playing a gig, $150 for 4 hours, right? Mm-hmm. At the level I'm at now, I can speak specifically to myself. I don't want to just play any gig. I don't want to just go and play elevator music in a hotel. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because what I want now is to inspire people through my music. I want to actually be on a high level situation where I'm playing music that I've written or music that I'm completely invested in. And it is inspiring myself in the room. It's like a gift that keeps giving. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where I want to be. That being said, where I value a gig, just a normal gig, is a little differently from someone who's just starting out. You feel me? My point is the dollar amount doesn't matter to me when it comes to a random gig. You feel me?
Yeah.
But I'll play a gig that's not paying me anything if I feel like it's going to enrich me and give me a level of growth, inspiration, or propel my artistic development in any kind of way. Like the Starlight on Sunday night. That gig is not paying me a lot of money, but why do I play it? Because it's a high level gig that I can express myself and grow and feed the positive beast of creativity in me. You feel me?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It. Not the money. My point is, everybody has levels to that. There's a level for every musician and artist and creative to that. Mm-hmm. The real goal is the entertainment, to tie in the entertainment conversation versus like creativity or just performing. There is a balance. There's a balance. The balance to me comes back to you knowing what you want to do and having a real understanding on what that is. So, say you want to play, say you're the happiest playing avant-garde music.
Yeah.
Or you're the happiest doing like impressionism painting or doing something that's extremely high art. I call it high art because it is something that not is for everybody.
Yeah, it's going to challenge people who are experiencing it, which will turn off some people, but it's going to have a chance of really impacting a few people who get it.
Exactly. 100%. If you are one of those people and you find that you love to be the Mingus of today, be the Charles Mingus, or be the Rambo, or be the Arthur Rambo, be like the challenge, be the one that's on the high end of the stakes. You have to understand what has come before you and what that means for your career. That could possibly mean that you may not make a lot of money from that.
Yeah.
That being said, you have to change your barometer of expectation for what your career is. Not saying that you're not going to be an anomaly and grow past and be freaking a millionaire playing, like freaking Andrew Surreal, or like free music. I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but you do have to adjust what the goal is. The goal is not financial, it's not a substantial goal that you can reach immediately. That goal is replenishing you in a different way versus you playing a gig down the street entertaining somebody, you know? Like high art is not an entertainment. That's not entertainment. That's not what most people want to do on a Friday night. You know?
Right.
Like most people on a Friday night don't want to do that. Like this is why you have people on Bourbon Street playing gigs every night of the week.
Yeah.
And being background music or playing top 40 hits. That's a part of it. That's a common way for a lot of musicians to make money. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. But if you're playing freaking like, you know, Dewey Redman and, you know, Charles Lloyd, bro, Charles Lloyd is not playing on Bourbon Street. Charles Lloyd is playing huge festivals, and presenting a very eclectic historical representation of art. You feel me? Like, pay attention. That's where you have to put, you know, so the entertainment value versus like creating, understand what you do first, right? And then do the study and the research to understand what that is and what that's going to take and the kind of people that you're going to be involved with. I think we have to have a realistic understanding of that, you know?
Yeah, not just researching and practicing your craft, like studying the artistic side and how you can emulate that and grow upon it, but also you're saying that in order to know what you want, you need to research what that entire lifestyle is going to look like.
Yes. Knowing what you want is the first step. Once you do find out what that is, this is where you have to be realistic about what that lifestyle looks like.
The good and the bad.
The good and the bad. That's where you got to be at. That's where we start to we speed up the process right there. Because what we do a lot of times is I see drummers, I see musicians come to New Orleans all the time. I see it every month, a new wave. And cats come, and I see it all the time. They do not have an idea of what it looks like to do what they said they wanted to do. I mean, New Orleans is a bed. Musicians are moving every year, every month, and the reason why is because they think it's easy to work. It's easy to just jump in and play music. Not saying that it's not. It is easy to work here. It's easier than other cities to jump in and play music. But what does that look like for 6 months? Does it look like $1,000 a week? Does it look like you going out to every gig every night? Does it look like you playing a couple top 40 gigs, a couple wedding band gigs to get by? How does the lifestyle look? Are you writing tunes? Are you writing charts? Are you like developing original material? Do you see yourself as a composer? Like what aspects of creating music do you really love and that you want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Every drummer's not a writer. Every drummer doesn't have albums. Every drummer doesn't have, arranging skills. Every trumpet player is not an artist or an album or want to be a leader. So it's different ways. And then this is what happens. This is the next level. What happens from here is this is what allows me. You see musicians do it all the time. I have friends who did it. They grow from this place of coming, wanting to play, and they grow from wanting to play, realizing what they want, which is they're happy with playing music. I have friends who I went to college with who now have day jobs, great day jobs, and they play gigs at night, and they're completely happy with it.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you know why they're happy with it, because they actually didn't see themselves as being this freaking, warrior or artist. They're happy with playing the instrument alone.
Yeah.
They're happy. But they've reassessed and changed the priority level on how their life works. So now they get to play their instrument at a very high level, but they're also providing for themselves to have a freedom of mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there isn't as much pressure on the artistic process at that point.
Bro, and sometimes they're more creative that way. Some people are more creative. Everybody can't be creative while they're struggling at the same time. That's a different thing, bro. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, most of the greats have struggled. A lot of them have been through a struggle. So there is something to be said for a lot of the artists and creatives to be in the struggle and to, make it happen. Yeah, but bro, let's keep it real. there's a lot of jazz musicians who didn't do that. They didn't struggle at all. You know what I'm saying? Like they found another way to kind of make life work. And you're seeing that a lot nowadays in our society, where musicians are trying to have multiple streams of revenue so that they can actually create. You know what I mean? So a day job can be one way of doing it, but also maybe maybe you're like a bartender and you play gigs on, you know what I'm saying? Like there's other ways to do it. A lot of it is just relieving the pressure and the struggle of being a creative. You want to relieve it so that you know what I mean? It's hard, you know?
Yeah. Like if you have so much mental bandwidth taken up by just worrying about paying bills and things like that, there's less bandwidth available to serve the music.
Yeah, and it's just difficult, man. Like, some people, it's just difficult, bro. Everybody doesn't have that journey. Everybody doesn't have the gig that's paying them $30,000 a year, or have the amount of gigs that can pay them that kind of money, you know? So long story short, you see people who have reassessed what they want from music and changed that and made themselves better. They've put themselves in a better position, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think, balancing your expectation with what you can actually get out of it. If you're constantly expecting more than what you're getting, you're just always going to feel frustrated.
Yeah, I don't think yeah, bro. This thing that we do in music, everybody is not going to tour the world. Not all of us who study in a school setting will tour the world. The school setting is a beautiful thing to learn how to play at a high level, but it still doesn't teach you the things you actually need to be, a professional musician. It just teaches you the information, gives you a portal to have the information. That's it. I study all kind of drummers, as I said before. Like, I mean, you name it. I got transcriptions from everybody. Ben Riley, freaking Kenny Clark, Max Roach, Art Taylor, Art Blakey, Elvin, Tony, Joe Chambers, freaking Dunlap, you name it. I've transcribed them in college, and it was a great place for me to get all the information I needed musically. But then when I got out, I had to learn how to use it. I had to learn how to really use it at a high level and be what I call even just like a artist, create. You can't just repeat what they're playing. You got to listen, play, experience, relationship, people,
Yeah. I feel like it can kind of come across as when a little kid learns a fact or a big word, and then they just every time they meet someone, you have people over and the little kids are sharing this new bit of knowledge completely out of context.
Yeah.
I think that can kind of happen a lot with music school artists, in that you have all this information, you're kind of just throwing it out in a lot of places trying to figure out how to actually use it.
Yep. I know, Steve, tell me this. This is to give you, who has Steve Houghton worked with? Who does he tour with?
Houghton, he went through the Dallas studio scene and then made his way to LA. Freddie Hubbard, Woody Herman, all the big band stuff, all the award show stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, he's played with everybody. I mean, he's been in the scene.
Yeah.
What made him teach?
I think he just had a passion for it, and he had a way of codifying these practices and drum set that hadn't been done before. I think he saw an opportunity, to have a voice in it, and just a talent for explaining concepts that are kind of ephemeral.
Do you think that teaching is was definitely, he has a real special gift for it? Do you think and do you think he loves it and has a real passion for teaching?
For sure.
He probably was always going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. Roy Haynes has never taught. Vinny, they don't teach. Steve Gadd, they're not teaching. Dave Weckl, not teaching. See, now we start to really deal with people getting to the thing that they're special at.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying your experiences won't be high level. Neither will they not be. They're going to be impactful. Every experience will. But Steve Houghton is obviously a genius teacher and great at it because he's putting out a bunch of drum students.
Yeah. Right.
My teacher's the same way. Leon Anderson got a classical percussion degree and master's, but he's put out more drummers. Myself, Alex Hall. He's put out more drummers than he could imagine playing at a high level. His passion is teaching. He knows how to explain information. He knows what he wants to do as well. Family, beautiful wife, daughter, kids. Life. His life is clear. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, that's what it's all about. It's like getting to what you really want to do. Don't let the drums and the gig lead your life. And for all of us in this music thing, that can do that. It can lead your life. It's going to definitely enrich your life at a certain point because that's all you're going to chase. But you got to think to yourself, okay, like, is this it? Is this what I want to do? Is this life? If that is, then cool. You could be 60 and 70 playing clubs and make a living. I know people who did it.
Yeah.
But is that really, you know, some people don't want that.
Right. Well, I like that. Don't let the gig lead your life. Have your life lead the gigs that you do.
Yeah, like have your life like determine how you're going to move through this gig circuit. Like, you know, like what do you want? Like, take the drums away. What makes you happy?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Then we start to really get to the core. Then you can start to structure your whole thing based on what makes you happy so that you're choosing a job that you love every day. And you'll never work. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I branched off into producing. I produce records. I've been producing records with other artists. And bro, I love production. Production is something I want to do. My dream is to have a studio in the back of my house where people can come and I don't have to leave home and you can work on records with me and we can produce records. Not like electronics and stuff, but like be like a Quincy Jones. He's like my musician.
Yeah.
You know? He's
Cool.
like my freaking, you know, I love him.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And that also sounds like that you're kind of always checking in with yourself because what you want is going to change and you're kind of always asking yourself that so that you can adapt like what your current career looks like to fit that.
Yeah, when you're creative, you're always you're staying on the move, so you're looking for what's next, and there's always opportunity that you have to kind of vet and like weigh. It comes in your space, and you have to say okay, and that's why you have to always keep asking yourself that question. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if somebody called me tomorrow about playing a gig with, this may sound crazy, Beyonce, right? And I had to take off basically 4 years of my life. I had to like basically block off my schedule for 4 years. Would I take the gig? Would you take the gig?
I mean, where I'm at right now, I'd probably take the gig.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take the gig. This is showing you my point.
Right.
I would not take the gig. Gavin, you name the artist. If they call me right now, I told me I need to block my schedule off for 2.5 years or something like that. Paid income, I wouldn't take the gig. You know why? Where my mind is now is not about somebody else's gig. My mind is about my solo stuff, my albums, my artistry, my production. Like I want to do. I've stepped into the artistic realm where I see this bigger than the drum set. Yeah. Way bigger than the drum set. Not that the drum set doesn't give me, because it does. I play on the Starlight on Sunday nights. The drum set's giving me a lot. Yeah. A lot of freedom. I'm freaking free as I don't know what when I'm playing drums. But my mind is so, which is allowing me to play drums at a very high level. It's allowing me to play drums at a very deep level with my own sound, my own concept, completely inspired by all of the greats, Yeah. I understand the greats more now than I've ever did now that I have my own sound. I get what they're trying to do. I get what they were sounding like. I get how they were maneuvering through the music versus when I was trying to learn them. Like I could tell you about their personalities, I feel like. That's just how deep it is for me.
That's cool.
That's how we all got to get. That's how we have to get. That's where the place happens, where you start to just play. You know? That's the freedom that we want out of life.
Yeah. Well, that's a new level of getting inside the people that you're listening to. You're kind of embodying their whole personality and what they're, not just the notes they're playing, but like what they're trying to accomplish artistically, and how like them as a person are like affecting that.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of drummers. Roger Humphreys, a drummer out of Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Play with a few people, but he's in Pittsburgh. He lives in Pittsburgh, you know, with his family. He's still playing drums. He sounds like a freaking ridiculous. Oh, he's killing, bro. But he's not known on the grand scale of things. We only talk about Tony Elvin and Max, and we only talk about these guys, right? Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of other guys around who were playing the heck out of the drums. You know?
Yeah.
It's, for instance, like Tanner, you playing the hell out of, you can play the drums like a motherfucker, right? So guess what? People know my name, right? But you're playing the drums and you're in the same city, and we're having an interview right now. If this interview comes out 30, 45 years from now, as our careers connect, people will not even suspect, or even the name recognition alone could change it. We can put us on a recording next to each other, playing on the same record, right? But because of this year right now and where we are in our careers, right now, we don't know how the name recognition is going to connect. My point is, what you want out of it, like some people want notoriety and they're afraid to say it. Some people want to be famous. Mm-hmm. They want to be like respected, which is a whole nother conversation. Like that changes everything. You can't play for that. You can't play for respect. You can't. You don't earn that you do earn it musically. I'm not gonna lie, you earn it musically, but that shouldn't be the sole reason that you do this. You feel me? Because that'll block you off. You won't even be able to communicate musically to anybody. You know?
Because if it's your drive, it kind of becomes like encompassing of everything. Like it's hard to focus on anything else.
Yeah, because you're trying to earn it. You know, you're trying to earn everything from someone. And you're trying to earn something that's not, it's not worth it. There's the value and respect about how you do something. Like the value, that value doesn't add up to the time you're spending to play for it, you know? Like playing for respect, there's too much time that goes into the drums for you to think that respect is like something you want to achieve. You feel me?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's hard to let go of that, especially when you're early on in your career and you know that one of the things you need in order to get to the next step or to get to a higher level of opportunities is name recognition and connections and respect from that circle of musicians, you know? So it's hard not to be overwhelmed by that desire. But also it's counterintuitive, because if you let go of it, it sounds like you can actually connect with those people better because the music's going to be better.
Yeah, it's like seeing somebody you look up to musically, like a drummer. Like say you go, Elvin Jones comes back alive and you see Elvin Jones. Elvin Jones probably doesn't want you to treat him like he's Elvin Jones. He probably would tell you more information if you just was like, hey, how you doing? And just like freaking bought him a drink. Mm-hmm. He'd sit there and talk to you all night long. And you learn a lot from him, because he wouldn't be talking about drums sometimes. He wouldn't be talking about, he'd just be talking because you're random up in the bar chilling. See, that is that's where we have to get. But if you put a certain kind of guard on him and a respect on him, he's not going to talk to you. He's probably gonna be like, if you talk about drums and you put him on a pedestal, he's gonna write you off with the rest of the people.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine what that does to your playing. Like screw everybody. screw for real, man. Like you gotta like get that off of you. Play. Like for real. That's the year out of school did that for me. Cause I would be on the road touring, playing. That's why touring drummers, you always notice cats who are on the road, they play freer than ever. They play freaking like, and it's because they're playing consistently in front of the people that they respect, and they've learned to diminish it. Because once you play in front of someone who you respect, then you talk to them and they're like, oh man, you sound good. And then they're like, man, you want to grab a drink? Like I was with Eric Harlan in Japan. Bro, me and Eric Harlan talked for like an hour, bro. Not about drums.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That is where the respect happens. Not here.
Yeah, you're showing that you're like happy to connect with these people as a person, as a human being.
Bingo. That's art. That's living.
Yeah.
That's art.
We forget to do that.
You do, because you're so freaking engulfed, bro. I know how this is. And I'm not talking about you, but in general, I've been there. That's why I know. Mm-hmm. And I also now I got a wife, 8 years, daughter. I got a family. I got a business, a band, 2 albums out. Like I know, like I get it. At this point, it's not about those hours you spent. And the focus is, you're so consumed with self. It's like putting a mirror in a practice room, which I had one in my practice room, and constantly looking at yourself, constantly. So when you go in a bandstand and you play with people, you're like, you're not even like, you know, that's why this is genius. This whole interview, the whole freaking Happy Musician, this is genius, bro. Because what this is going to do, every time you listen to this shit, you're going to be like, damn, okay, fuck, like, these are people.
Yeah.
We're not notes. We're not freaking rhythms. No, bro, people. That's how you get to the shit.
Yeah. I think that's, well, I really appreciate you saying that. And that, I feel like when I listen to records, like that's a big part of what we do as musicians is listening to records and then trying to emulate it. But you kind of, and I've been trying to break this mindset, but you're listening so much that you start to associate, like you kind of think the music is just happening from these like magical entities of like your heroes that you're listening to, and the music's just being created. And if you aren't careful, you forget that they are just people that are making those notes. But you're training yourself to like listen that way and process music that way. And then when you're in a band situation, you can just go into that mode of like, almost like they're just like these, you're in like a quartet, so there's like 4 note generating bodies on stage, not 4 people with intentions and like aspirations and dreams. And I think, and this comes to a quote that I saw that you had, but it comes to like an empathy thing of realizing that these notes are coming from people who have ambitions and dreams and like want to feel gratified and just like you do, you know. I think if you can, and even when you're listening to records, if you can imagine the people on the records as these full people, it totally changes it.
I'm gonna say this, and then we gotta wrap it up a little bit. I'll say this: the most beautiful thing about what we do, and this is why I admonish all musicians to do this, all artists, when there's something or someone you like, and there's something musical that happens, anything that you really love, research the hell out of it. Find out about what was happening in that time. One of the biggest lessons I learned studying jazz music was from Wynton Marsalis when I did the HBO documentary special. There's a documentary special on Netflix called Chops. There's also another one I did when I was in college called The Masterclass. It's on HBO.
Okay.
And Wynton talked about sophistication. He talked about me going to an opera. He told me to go to an opera every week. Like he was basically telling me to get outside of the music, outside of what I knew. And the reason why is because it's about understanding what's going on in your time so that you can be able to make parallels, artistic, art form wide, make connections. Meaning in 1968, when John Coltrane was recording, what was the country like? What was his situation like? He's from Carolina, North Carolina. Like, what was his upbringing? How did he grow up? How did he what was his mom like? What was Alice like? What was his dad like? Because see, now we're starting to get to know people. You're talking to me about stuff. You came to talk to me at freaking the Starlight, and we got on a conversation about positive, how to be mentally satiated and healthy. Bro, That's what happened. Now, when you hear me play, you're gonna hear it differently. You already hear it differently.
Yeah.
This is the biggest key to learning not only music, but to really understand how life works. This is the biggest art gift we have. And art is the biggest gift. Art shows you people in a deep way. That's the gift. The gift is not the music. It's how it shows you people. This is what makes you get on a bandstand and be able to really, it's one of my biggest gifts because I have an assessment of people that I've been gratified with. And most of the great cats have that. They know people. They're like, oh man, yeah, this cat's coming from Trinidad. I played a gig with A.T. Charles, who went to college together. He's like a trumpet player, but he's from Trinidad. He's from Trinidad, kind of comes from this kind of family, affluent family. Like, you got to know cats. Because, you know, Gabby's from California, Italian, kind of traveled a little bit, you know, quite a bit, lived in different states. She, like, you know, young hippie, vegan, like, I understand, like, the people. Jamison, soulful, PK kid, granddad's pastor, Southern Jacksonville, Florida, you know, vibe. You know, grew up in a religious-based home, like studied jazz, sings like understand people. Very important. When you do that, you unlock the key to what art can give you, and what jazz, the drums, all of it can give you. What dancing, whatever your artistic platform is, it's gonna give you something. What it gives you is not freaking playing at a high level. No, that's something you can earn. You can just build that muscle. You share for hours. But the real thing it's going to give you is the real assessment and empathy for people.
Yeah, wow.
So I'll leave it there. We can ask your wrap-up questions.
Yeah,
then,
for sure.
You know.
No, that's all awesome. So we'll jump into our CODA question round. These are the 5 short answer questions that everyone on the show answers, and the first one is, what's your go-to feel-good album?
Go-to feel-good album is Voodoo, D'Angelo.
Yeah. What's the best advice about happiness that you've received?
Ooh, best advice about happiness that I receive. A song that I wrote that I got a download from. It says, keep on walking, keep on believing, keep on singing, keep on dancing. The next part says, be thankful for another day, hopeful for tomorrow. Smile all your worries away. Don't wait until tomorrow.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Who's a musician in your life who's living a particularly healthy, happy, and fulfilling life besides yourself?
Besides myself? Well, what's funny is I don't, healthy, happy, and fulfilling life? A musician in my life who's doing that. Maybe my teacher, Leon Anderson. He's the closest person to it. He's teaching jazz at Florida State University. He's not touring, which is probably, I don't know any touring musicians that I can say, Michael League.
Yeah?
The leader of Snarky Puppy. He's one of them. He is definitely, he's not married, so I can't really relate to him.
Yeah.
But I like what he's doing. He's freaking running a business. He's successful. He's probably financially very comfortable, and he's being creative and pushing the limits forward every time he addresses music. John Baptiste too. That's a good friend of mine. He's killing it.
Cool. If you could give just one piece of advice to young musicians just kind of getting started, what would it be?
Young musicians, like teenagers?
So, yeah, like maybe people just getting into music school, that kind of age.
Practice.
There it is.
Yeah, because people learn how to practice. There we go. Learn how to practice.
Yeah.
Learn how to focus and be disciplined about achieving small goals. My first 2 years in college, I practiced for hours at a time. My last 2 years of college, I would practice at 20-minute increments and take breaks.
Yeah.
Focus, 20-minute increments. Like focused. Like if I was playing quarter notes on the ride cymbal, 20 minutes, stop. Nothing was unfocused.
Yeah.
Break it up throughout the day. I would come back to campus, break it up. I would have 2 hours a day, but I would break it up. It worked.
Yeah, for sure. No, there's a lot of science behind that these days. Oh, awesome. And then the last one is just, what is your purpose as a musician?
My purpose as a musician now is to heal and inspire people with a message of love and empathy. For me, I'm all about that. I believe that music has power to really change people. And when you get people in one space together, it's the most powerful thing ever. And so my goal is for the music that I write is to tell the story of who I am and to show my perspective on love and my perspective on empathy, you know?
Yeah.
Use myself as an example. Be myself consistently and show you that it's possible to do that and that can also heal and inspire an entire room. So it's not about the world for me. It's about the room that I'm in.
Yeah.
Every time it's like let me be myself more so that someone can see themselves. You
I
feel
love
me?
it. Yeah, that's so perfect. Well, great, man. I love this conversation. And before we wrap up, if you want to take a second now, you can plug any projects or places on the web or things you'd like to direct people to that they can get more information about you, hear your music, whatever you feel like you want to share.
Yeah, well, I would just say just follow me. If you like what I said, or even if you don't, follow me. Jamison Ross, music.com, Instagram, Jamison_Ross, Twitter, Jamison_Ross. That's low key, like a very cool place. Twitter, I like to tweet a lot, and I say a lot of cool things on Twitter. Because they're like directly what I'm thinking. And follow me, man. You know, I'm a musician. I'm an artist. I'm a drummer. And I'm a father and a husband. You know, yeah, bro. And I love life.
I love it. Thanks, man. Thanks for being here.
I got you, bro. For real.
That does it for this week's episode of the Happy Musicians Podcast. Right now, we're listening to the title track from Jamison's most recent album, All for One. I hope you got value out of this show, and if you did, please don't hesitate to subscribe, leave a rating, or just tell your friends about it. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. What do you want? You can have anything in the world. Dream big, go out and get it, come up with a plan, and if you don't know yet, then just start trying stuff out. Can't hurt. You're all amazing. Tune in next week, and stay happy.